Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zemin Sao. I'm from the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging. The Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging is one of the co-hosts of the New American Task Force. Welcome to this month's New American Task Force monthly meeting. We're really excited to be able to share some really exciting information with you today and have some excellent speakers lined up. If we get to the next slide, Claudia. So just a really quick one over of agenda. We will have some event updates that we want to share with you about what's happening in the community. And just a reminder, if you have events in the community and would like to share with the New Americans Task Force, please send it our way and we would love to help you spread the word. Then we have an excellent presentation today on the state digital equity and broadband expansion plan. This is tremendously important for the New Americans in Utah being able to access, having access to digital tools, as well as being able to use those tools to help them succeed in a community. So we have some excellent speakers lined up. And then we'll have a robust discussion as well in terms of what you guys think. And part of this discussion and the New American Task Force is really trying to provide information, but also getting input from the community about the various things that's happening in the state of Utah. And last but not least, we'll hear from Tulilda Lawson, who is the president and CEO of the Utah Advanced Manufacturing Association, about a brand new program that we're excited to share with you. Next slide, please. Just a quick reminder about the New Americans Task Force. The purpose of the New American Task Force is to maximize the economic opportunity, the social inclusion, and civic potentials of New Americans while reinforcing an environment of belonging in Utah. The task force started about 2 years ago, now represents 175 stakeholders statewide, ranging from nonprofit organizations to business leaders, industry associations, state and local government, faith-based communities, and individuals. I just really want to emphasize that this is a statewide effort, and we are really proud of the ability to be able to hear from all every geography within the state of Utah, because we know that depending on what you live, resources might need to tailor accordingly. The purpose of the task force is really to do a couple of things. One is learn from experts to inform opportunities relating to immigration in the state, and the task force members making recommendations. I think this is the piece I was relating to earlier about the importance of getting your input so that you could advise on how we can move forward. And we really do emphasize on workforce and economic opportunities, but we cannot do that without getting your input and making sure that the state of Utah is a place where everyone is welcome and can belong. Next slide, please. So I would like to share with you some exciting things happening with the New Americans Task Force. In addition to monthly meetings, we also host events, special events, and we're excited to say that we are going on the road next month and are hosting a New Americans in Southern Utah Symposium. This is co-presented by Utah Tech University, who is the host for this special event. So please put it, save the date. It's going to be February 24th in 2020 this year. So it's just next month. And hopefully it's a little bit warmer. And so we welcome all of you and invite all of you to join us next month in St. George, Utah. And please watch out for the save the date, but also watch out for invitation to be forthcoming in the next week or so. Community events. I'm going to now turn the time over to our great partners at Children's Voices for Utah Children to tell us about a special event in the community. Thais, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Z and Natalie, for the invitation today. I'm really excited to be here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thais Del Rio. I'm a policy analyst at Voices for Utah Children, and I'm here today to invite all of you to a really exciting event that we are planning at the state legislature for next month. We will be hosting an Immigrant Day on the Hill alongside some really amazing partners, including the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging, as well as Utah with All Immigrants, amongst other organizations. So the event will be held on February 13th. That's a Tuesday from 3:30 to 5:30 at the Capitol Rotunda. And really our goal with this event is to empower, educate, and to celebrate the immigrant community. We want to come together as community members to, be able to celebrate and recognize the contributions of immigrants here in Utah, while also fostering a space for civic engagement and education surrounding the legislative process in Utah. So we'll be having some really fun and interactive activities during the event because we really want to make sure that everyone feels they are co-creating with us during the event. So we'll be having some interactive activities and stations and trivia. We'll also be having some food catered from a local Indian restaurant and some performances from the Pacific Islander community and the Latino community. Really, the goal is just to make sure that our community feels empowered and that they have the necessary skill set and tools that they need to be able to come back and participate in the legislative process. So we have our flyer here. Happy to share our RSVP link in the chat as well. So we hope to see all of you there. And like the flyer says, it's open to the public, it's free, and we'd love to see as many of you up there.
Thank you so much, Thais, for that invitation to attend this. We're super excited about this event on the Capitol. As you know, your voices matters, the process matters. And so that this is really a great opportunity if you're a veteran in the legislative process, or if you're brand new and just want to get to know how the process works, this is the time for you to do it so that we can show a united front in terms of a community and really showcase the assets and the vibrancy that immigrants bring to the state of Utah. So thank you so much, Thais. Encourage all of you to attend and please drop that event link on the website. We also have a couple more community events with our partners. We have from Salt Lake County, the State of County Address. Again, this is being able to be a part of the political process and engage in that is important and part of why that is part of a successful integration. And so January 23rd is the State of the County Address from 6 to 7 p.m. We do encourage all of you to participate if you're available to do so. And then I know that Salt Lake City, if we go to the next slide, Salt Lake City is also doing the State of City Address that is scheduled for Tuesday, January 30th at 7 p.m. So encourage you to participate in that as well, is both in person or just watch it online. Next slide, please. So with that, those give us some really great announcements in terms of what's happening in the community, but we're super excited to now dig deeper into our presenters today to learn more about the state's digital equity plan. We have with us Rob Rope, who is the Director of Operation at the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging. I'm going to turn the time over to him. He's going to be facilitating today's discussion with a guest from the governor's office as well as USU. Rob, take it away.
Thank you, Z, and thank you everybody for having me and our guests here today to talk about digital equity. Z really put it eloquently why this is so important to the New American Task Force and New Americans. And really, I think it's something out there that will really level the playing field by providing equal access to computers, the internet, digital skills, really enabling new Americans to bridge the digital divide. And we have some great speakers today. Terry Mumm is the Digital Access Program Manager over at the Governor's Office, the Utah Broadband Center, who's going to talk about the state broadband expansion plan and the digital equity plan. And Dr. Paul Hill, who is from Utah State University, is going to talk about the extension programs, remote work, both for employers and employees, and how you can get involved in USU's extension programs that are statewide through using a digital portal. And then I'm also going to talk about part of my job now as I'm both the director of programming and operations here at the CEOB, but I am also currently managing the Utah Digital Opportunity Network. And we're going to talk about what that statewide network is for and how it can help new Americans bridge the digital divide. With that, I'm going to pass the proverbial mic over to Terry and let her talk to you about the state plan.
There it is. Can you see it? Everybody good? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can
Okay.
see it, Terry. Thank you.
Okay, great. Sorry, I have like 3 screens going. So, yeah, let's just, I mean, I think pretty much this group knows what's happening with the plan, but let me do this little run through and then I'll give you an update of where we are in the process and how you can get involved. Connecting Utah is the statewide broadband expansion project that our office, the Utah Broadband Center, in the Office of Economic Opportunity, the Governor's Office, is in charge of this program and a couple other ones that all have pretty much the same goal. So we'll just kind of go through the state digital equity plan and kind of what it's about. And where we are in this process. So the digital equity plan is, it's a component of our statewide connectivity plan. So that includes our broadband expansion and deployment. So our infrastructure funds and then our state digital equity plan. And then, you know, those two together kind of encompass the statewide connectivity plan. So they are very much developed in tandem with each other, which isn't happening across the country. So we're really happy that we have an office that supports digital equity and sees the importance of connecting the two things together. So our vision through this process over about 1.5 years, we've been working on the implementation of this plan or the development of this plan and talking to stakeholders and coming up with this. So the vision to realize a Utah where all are invited to fully participate in modern society through access to affordable high-speed internet, safe and reliable devices, and training to achieve digital independence. So that is, that's that. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. You guys got me. So our goals, we're in the process of sort of shuffling the activities and goals, but these are the buckets that we're looking at. You know, we're definitely leading with workforce and believe that digital literacy improvement across the whole spectrum is going to improve our workforce and access to internet and access to devices. So we're working on that right now. Just a call out in the plan. My next project is to align all the state agency goals with our digital equity goals. And then we'll be reaching out to those agencies and seeing how we can partner and where we can align and how we can do this together. So we want to create that workforce pipeline, both in digital literacy, but also with manufacturing and the broadband infrastructure itself. We want to connect all households that have not currently been connected in Utah, about 45, it depends on who you talk to, but 45 to 60,000 homes. And then, you know, either work on affordability or things like that. Everything's very up in the air with ACP right now. So we're looking at how, as a state, can we handle the affordability issue around digital equity and digital access. We also want to expand device access through bulk programs and building up refurbishment systems and things like that, looking at policies around, you know, enterprise loaning and things like that. So that's a big part of it. And with the devices, we also are adding security and safety in this realm so that people feel comfortable, safe, I see in the future some collaboration with, you know, the Department of Commerce and scams and all kinds of things that we can expand on in that space. And then finally, which I think is very important, is the digital independence piece. We want to do as much as we can to develop an ecosystem that helps folks connect and build digital literacy. So, you know, we can't afford, or I don't even know that it's a sustainable idea to just build and employ a force of digital navigators to go out and help people. What our goal is to build an ecosystem of practitioners and a community of practice around digital navigation and provide support and resources for that over the 5 years in hopes that they become sustainable within the organizations and institutions that we work with, and hopefully that spreads from there. It's our theory, and Paul might be able to help me substantiate this, but that, you know, if everyone across every sector, business, you know, organization focused more on digital inclusion, that their overall outcomes would improve. So we're going to be coordinating people, you know, building independence and training programs. We want to build sustainable programs that will last beyond the 5-year thing. We want to expand devices and increase opportunities in general. And this is kind of how it might look, you know, when we talk about workforce. You know, we have the Digital Inclusion Fellowship. We want to kind of create our own version of that for Utah so that we are reaching out across the state and creating subject matter experts and professionals in the digital inclusion space. We want to work across the higher education systems and trade schools and programs to create certification programs that like help people kind of legitimize the role of digital inclusion and offer some career mobility around that. The internet, we're working on, you know, how to deal with the affordable internet piece. I think our state has done pretty well in working with the ISPs and kind of determining, you know, what that threshold is and how we can make it more affordable for people. And we continue to advocate in our office for the ACP. But, you know, that's just a real challenge and something that we want to work with groups like this to continue to have that conversation and voice around providing access. One thing I've been thinking about lately, which I think this group could be helpful, is what are other ways to achieve access that aren't like a internet subsidy? You know, can some of these skill building programs or certification programs or job programs actually provide devices, tech support, and internet as part of their programs? So things like that that we're working on. And the devices, we're trying to figure out how to get a more robust and support a more robust refurbishment community here. And then, you know, the pilot programs for digital navigators and working with the Department of Ed to make sure that digital literacy and computer skills are mandatory in our education systems. Oops, wrong way. Sorry, guys, I'm a bad presenter. We kind of have taken a stab at this in terms of impact for the 5 years. You know, we have, you know, a couple hundred professionals, maybe if you count, working on digital divide issues, 67,000 unserved households. We want to increase devices by 10,000 annually, and we want to engage over 100 organizations in this work over the next, the course of 5 years. So you can kind of see where that is. I just wanted to quickly update the BEAD grant program. Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Grant is the infrastructure side of that grant. And it's part of our 5-year connectivity plan. And we are working on the challenge process for the BEAD program, which is a very technical, like mapping, auditing process to make sure that we are confident in our list of unserved homes or households or anchor institutions. So that is the last chance that we have to challenge anything that's on that map. And if it's not on the map as underserved, it's ineligible. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. So our office is facilitating a challenge process in February CEOB is going to be the nonprofit that will help individuals submit challenges if needed, or groups. We're going to do a lot of outreach and education. It's a very technical thing. It's the last hurdle before we start to receive BEAD funds. So we're kind of excited about that, just to kind of get past this piece. But if you do know communities or whole anchor institutions or organizations that are not served, let us know. We think we know, but this is that last chance, and then we can try to make sure that that gets included in the challenge process. I don't want to go into the details of how technical it is, but individuals are not eligible to challenge nonprofits and government entities and things like that. So that's why we've engaged CEOB to help us make sure that if an individual wants to challenge, that they have a nonprofit that they can work with to do that. So that's kind of a big technical gnarly piece, but it is a sign that we're getting closer to implementing the BEAD funds. So our goals and objectives are, expand broadband, identify and mitigate obstacles, support ISPs in navigating the funding requirements. These are our goals with the plan itself, not the plan goals. We want to maximize funding, and we want to deploy broadband to all of our anchor institutions across the state. And lastly, strengthen Utah's economy with digital literacy building. Just to talk, if you don't know what a community anchor institution is, it's pretty much a school, hospital, library. We've really tried to make sure that our definition is very broad. So if there's a place that is a community gathering place, even if it's informal, that we can identify that and get that connected with gig service. So we are waiting from NTIA to approve our initial proposal, which is our BEAD grant program, the definition of all of that. As soon as that happens, we'll launch the challenge process, and that'll move that whole BEAD project forward. With the digital equity, we are turning in our final plan February 9th, and then we'll go through a curing process with the federal government. So now's the time to connect with us. If you have any comment or feedback on the plan. We've been, sharing this plan and talking with people for a year now. So I think we've done a pretty good job, but our door is always open, especially around, as we look at specific implementation and partnerships and things like that. We want to start having those conversations now that we've got the initial strategic plan built. I think that's everything from me. Any questions about our office or what we got going on?
Yeah, thank you so much, Terry, for that great presentation. This is super important, as we alluded to earlier. This is once in a lifetime funding that is coming through the state of Utah from the federal government to support the expansion of digital equity in the state of Utah. So your input matters. And this is the time to do it. And thank you, Terry, for highlighting all of the components when we talk about digital equity. Is about workforce development. So I'm so glad to see that there is about devices, but it's also training about, the literacy piece. I know that Rob in the office, the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging, has been working closely with the governor's office, and Rob has been leading out on those conversations, and maybe Rob could share. But before we do that, I know that Catherine has her hand raised for a little bit. So Catherine, I don't know if you want to chime in or have a question to ask before I turn it to Rob. Go ahead and mic yourself if you still have a question. Catherine, do you still have a question that you would like to ask? I know you have your hands up for a little bit. Oh, she said no question. Okay, no problem. I'll turn it to Rob then and see if she has anything to add to and provide additional context on how people might be able to provide feedback for the plan and moving forward.
Thank you, Z, and thank you for that presentation, Terry. I am going to be sharing a presentation. Let me just pull this up real quick. and see if we can get it to do the right side. Am I showing the right side of this thing, or do I need to swap them?
It's not on your presenter mode, so I'm still seeing multiple slides, Rob.
There we go. Okay,
There
cool.
you go.
Folks, I'm presenting today on the Utah Digital Opportunity Network. And this is a coalition not unlike the New American Task Force. The central theme of the udon, just like the noodle, is digital equity, and really a focus on networking and how do all of us who potentially are stakeholders in digital equity, how do we stay connected? How do we create a centralized community voice when people like Terry need to hear from our state to create plans? And you know, how do we really leverage digital equity in the work that we're doing? So who we are is a very, very diverse group of community members. So right now, the UDON has about 40 members, including folks from government, including folks from nonprofits like the CEOB, including folks from universities, from just about any walk of life really has a potential to be touched by digital equity. And we have our doors widely open. We would welcome all sorts of members, anybody who's even just interested in learning a little bit more about it. And we're going to talk a little bit about what the function of the UDON is as we kind of move through here. But primarily, it's to create a centralized point of contact for digital equity efforts. So if the state has a question and says, hey, where's the gap? We can, in a centralized way, talk about gaps in digital equity. Or if a philanthropist is like, where do I invest in digital equity? We can roadmap that a little bit with a proper network. We are also involved in digital asset and resource management, which we're going to talk about the UDON webpage and our asset map, which plays into the state broadband expansion plan that Terry was talking about as well. The UDON is a critical part of the way that the state is able to interact and enact their plan. We also are focused on gap analysis and recommendations. When we talk about the asset map, I'll show you how that also shows us where there aren't assets and how we can utilize that to make better policies and make better programming. And to grow community capacity and growth. We really want to lift up folks that are working in this area, whether that be, you know, helping connect you with another group that's doing something that will amplify the work that you're doing, to be a good referral, or to help lift up capacity in other ways. If there's a need for devices, if there's a need for your organization to upgrade your website, but you have no idea how to do it, we hope that we can be a resource for that as well. A little bit of history. This is a brand new coalition. We were created officially back in November, and the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging, we as an organization are functionally incubating the concept of the UDON as one of our divisions. The long-term goal, we'll talk about the plan for that, but for all intents and purposes, we needed to have a community-centered voice in this position that could speak statewide and connect stakeholders statewide with values centered on digital equity and really that all individuals and communities need to have this sort of knowledge to have full participation in our society, our democracy, and our economy. And like Terry mentioned, and like Z alluded to as well, we are at a critical juncture for this because there are billions of potential investment dollars coming down the pipeline, not only with the federal funds that Terry's talking about with a broadband expansion and with the digital equity plan that's imminent, but there will continue to be more and more opportunity for our state to access this sort of money if we are organized and if we have a proper network in place where we can really go after some of these funds to lift up our efforts of digital equity here in Utah. And this is really the primary purpose of the UDON. And it is a community resource. Yes, we can be a resource for entities like the state, but we can also be a resource for other community groups and for philanthropists and for anybody who has really got a stake in this and is interested in just building their own network. We have a monthly digital resource meeting. Ours is actually coming up tomorrow. At the end of this program, I'm going to show you a QR code, and we would absolutely absolutely love to have every single person who is in the New American Task Force also come visit this other coalition. If you worked in the New American Task Force, you know how effective coalition work can be if we have a good comprehensive network and we're all communicating. And we feel like there's a lot of crossover potential and ways to lift up both coalitions simultaneously. We also have basically an Udon message board. Currently, that's a Slack page. Again, anyone can join this. You can hop on and just say, oh, wow, what are they talking about? Or you can hop on and say, where do I get devices that have been refurbished for the communities that I'm working with? Or where are they teaching classes about this topic, about coding that are in Spanish? And this will continue to grow as we develop the coalition, culminating in the Udon webpage. Let me move that forward. There we go. So the Udon webpage is in development as we speak. As soon as the ink was dried on our contact at the COB to create the Udon, we hired a web developer to begin work on that. The webpage itself is going to serve as an asset map in partnership with the Utah Broadband Center, as they've been collecting information on all the resources that exist in this state. When you think about something like digital equity, it could be a lot of different things. That means we're collecting information on all the libraries that are out there that have computer labs. We're also collecting information on the individuals who have a one-person nonprofit that is out in southeastern Utah teaching a very small class of people how to open an email for the first time. Anything and everything in between there. The universities that have reading labs and all the different sorts of folks that could potentially work in that. It's a long list. That database, for us as a community, for us as a network to operate effectively, we need to know what currently exists. We need a comprehensive look at that asset map on a statewide level so that A, we don't end up recreating the wheel when we think about digital equity, but B, so that we know where our friends are, we know where our stakeholders are, and so that when we're serving our clients or when we as individuals are seeking out services, we know what's in our area and we can look at this website and be able to see what resources are available to us right away and where they are located. And with that, we've got a pretty large list going. One of the asks that you will hear from me just about every time I talk, either here or in the Udon meeting, is that if we need the community's help at this point, we've done basically what we can do from a very high level to collect information on all the resources we think are out there, the ones that have volunteered their information to us. We're at the phase right now where to make a comprehensive network that really serves this community, we need to know who we're missing. And that's really where we put the call out to our community. So to our coalitions like the New American Task Force to be like, hey, wait a minute, they're missing A, B, and C, or whatever you can help contribute to the list so that we truly are comprehensive. The website itself is going to be a public-facing database, which means that anyone can go up and just look at it. And if you think about it like 211's portal, you could look at it. This would be a very specific type of 211 where there's filtering designed around digital equity and specific things that you would be looking for in this ring. And one of the things that we did right away is how do we coordinate with 211? How do we share information so that we both are feeding each other's networks to build the most comprehensive database as possible? And 211, luckily, is very open to the idea. We're going to be sharing information with them and constantly updating this in a way that we will be capable of doing once we have a full-time equivalent managing the Udon. And regularly updating this sort of stuff. Well, the thing about digital equity is not only does it touch everything, but it changes so fast and that we need to really be on top of it and make sure that the resources we're listing are available. I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots. Like I said, our site's currently in development. So you get the basic idea right now what it's going to look like. The goal of the website is not only to be very easy to find what you're looking for and pretty straightforward, but we are trying to build in as many elements of accessibility as possible. You're looking at the English version of this site. There's going to be 5 different translatable languages. We keep going over about how we can make this visually more accessible, how we can make this accessible if maybe this is your first or you're just brand new to engaging with portals in general, how we can make it more accessible. And it will be, you know, we're using in national standards, national best practices for that now. But part of what we'll do is when we release this is we'll reach out to our communities and say, help us test this thing. Let's see if this is working. Let's see what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, so that this is really the pinnacle of what a website accessibility should be. And maybe we can set some standards for how we think about other services that are trying to provide services through web portals. But as you can see here, you know, you'll be able to go in a fairly simple way to engage with the system, and then it will pull up, and you can see right now that we only have test stuff going in on our map right now, but you can imagine what would happen when we drop the database in there. You'll be able to see what's in your area, what's in your neighborhood. And what makes sense for you to be able to attend, or if there's online classes that you're able to attend as well. And we're really excited about that. But you know, at the very least, too, I would hope that what comes across is that if we can get information, good information about the services that are out there in the system. That worst case scenario is this was free advertising for your organization, for your folks that want to get these services out there. Best case scenario is that you've got an awesome new tool in your back pocket that you can use with the folks that you're trying to serve, or with your community to share, where you've got access to something very much more specific for a database. Next, I want to talk about just the future plans. Like I alluded to initially, the UDON is incubated within COB. It's basically a division, if you consider that. We're a small little 3-person nonprofit that has another nonprofit incubating inside of it right now. But the goal of this is really to establish a separate permanent 501c3, so that the network is managed, right? That we keep the meetings going, that we keep the communication lines going, that we've got somebody advertising in coalitions like this, but two, that asset map is up to date and regularly managed, and that it's always got the best information out there possible, so that we are really operating at our top level when we're providing services to folks. And really the web page, what we looked at today, you're looking at phase 1 right now. What part of the scope of work that we have for the webpage is just to get the asset map itself in there. But beyond that, when we're talking to our web developer now, we're really excited about the ways that we can build this website as a community resource and potentially fill gaps that there may be a lack of capacity for some of our community service providers, or other ways that we can host things on the website to make things easier for the folks that are working in these fields. So, you know, we've thought about how we can have grant writing tools, how we can have, research, curriculums for things like workforce development, maybe even something to spell check Rob's PowerPoints. But you get the idea, and what we would love to hear from folks is feedback, and be like, hey, this is what I could really use, or this is what we need to centralize, or this is something that we're doing that we need you to feature as the UDON so that it gets out statewide. That's the sort of thing that this is built for, and we would love your participation in that. And also, we're going to continue to work with Terry and the folks over at UBC, because like she said, there's imminently hundreds of millions of dollars potentially coming into this state. And we want to be at the top level of coordination with those state offices and with our community, and have that network up and running at full capacity, so that we can communicate quickly and accurately about the needs that are out there in our state when it comes to digital equity. And so with that, I'm going to say I'm following the QR code trend here. If either one of these, like I said, we would love to have you on the Slack. Even if you just want to peek your head in, that is fantastic. It's free, no commitment, no obligation there. The resource meeting, like I said, it's 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's a Zoom call. And we are talking about device refurbishment. We have tech charities on the line. And if any of you or your communities have a need for laptops or anything like that, this is a great time to hop in and listen to what Dennis Lifrith has to say about that. We will also be featuring other community-sponsored like events and stuff like that, just the same way that we do in the New American Task Force. But also just to centralize that and get the word out statewide when it comes to digital equity. And really, that's it for me. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to hear them.
Rob, thank you so much for that presentation. I know that that was a lot, and this is a brand new coalition. So we do encourage everyone to participate, just underlining how important this is, in addition to the importance of digital equity that touches every aspect of our life. We emphasizing how much funding that is going to come down the pipelines in the next year, unless a community really organize and prepare ourselves to respond to opportunities, we might miss the boat. So this is our way of being proactive, being able to think about what are the needs in the community, what are the assets, and how can we work collectively to make sure that we bring resources to a community to help us further our efforts. So please let us know if you have any questions in terms of joining the Utah Digital Opportunities Network. I love that acronym of UDON. It just makes you hungry every time you talk about it. But I appreciate you sharing with that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it on the chat. And I look forward to your engagement. There is a clear intersection between the New American Task Force and this particular network, and the New American Voices is critically important in this process.
Thank you.
Rob, I'm going to turn it over to you. I know you have one more presenter.
We do indeed. So up next is my friend, Dr. Paul Hill, who is going to talk about some of the really awesome USU extension programs that dip into digital equity that are available statewide. And with that, I'll turn my time over to Paul.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate the kind introduction. I'll share my screen. All right. Well, really, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I want to just follow back on what Terry said. I was actually just reading a literature review of many studies that that point to research on digital equity and inclusion. Not only that it not only enhances financial inclusion, but also promotes sustainable, inclusive economic growth that benefits businesses, government, and society at large. So quite a bit there. If you're interested in some references on that, like just reach out to me. But yeah, I'm here today to talk about digital equity and our role at Utah State University and what we're doing with the Remote Online Initiative. So I serve as the program director. I'm down in Washington County, and I serve as the program director for the Remote Online Initiative, and which has started off, and our focus still is on rural Utah. But because of different grants and funding, we've spread out across the state, and so our focus is helping all people in Utah to have the opportunity to work from home, work remotely as they see fit. So just a little background on our program is everything we do at Utah State University Extension is based on the needs of our communities. So our rural communities have typically experienced higher levels of unemployment, higher levels of negative net migration, young people leaving our rural communities for jobs and education, going to more urban centers, as well as just lack of economic diversity, mainly because of the focus on agriculture, as well as extraction industries like coal and timber and so forth. And then just overall, the lack of well-paying, steady jobs. And so we conducted this needs assessment, saw that there's some unique needs in rural Utah, and those really map with rural America. And put our heads together and thought, what can we do? What can we do for workforce development? How can we help Utah and all the residents really leverage our assets and connect to well-paying jobs, and that's through really the answers through remote work. And while we're not 100% not there yet with digital equity and broadband, Utah, we're in a great place. I work with many other faculty members across the country, and it's good to not be in Iowa or Missouri or Mississippi. They have bigger challenges than we do. Hence the BEAD funding that they got, a lot more than us. But again, we have a population that's lower than some of those other states. So So we developed this program. We received legislative funding to pilot the program and teaching this concept like that. This was the research question. Could a course from Utah State University really help people in rural settings and people all over the state to find remote jobs? Is this intervention possible? And so after 2 years, we demonstrated that it was. In fact, we had over 100 people at that point in time who had been able to find remote jobs, which led to ongoing funding as well. And that's again, the short-term impacts are, did people increase in their knowledge? Were their attitudes more positive towards remote work? Did they have the skills they needed? And what were their aspirations? Did they want to become remote workers? And these were all positive outcomes, in addition to a medium-term outcome, which is, did they apply what they learned and get a remote job? And we saw that was occurring. And so we continue to press forward. We've received additional funding to help people who gets their foot in the door. It's really, really hard to get a remote job, harder than just a regular job, and where you're on site. And so we want to make sure that they have an opportunity to grow. And so we offer a sales career pathway. And then additional resources that came just this last legislative session to develop an e-commerce accelerator. So we work with ag businesses and really any rural small business, and we help them start selling their products online. So those are the things that are coming. But here's a little video with some background on our program.
Do you feel limited by the lack of career opportunities available in your rural community? Are your skills being underutilized in your current position? Are the only available job opportunities miles away from your hometown? Whether you call it telecommuting or remote work, you can have a great job that lets you work from anywhere without having to leave your community. All you need is a reliable internet connection, a designated workspace, a good computer, and you're good to go. With jobs in medicine, education, finance, customer service, and more, remote work provides all kinds of exciting career opportunities. But even with all these opportunities, transitioning to a new job can be intimidating. The Rural Online Initiative was created to help you prepare for the journey with training, remote work experience, and job placement support. So, ready to start the journey to your remote career? Contact us today.
So just a quick intro, we have a professional course, and that is has been developed to help all job seekers. So anyone who wants to get a remote job, convert their job to remote, this is the course for them. And there's 9 modules. It takes about 30 hours. It goes over the course of 1 month. We offer it every month of the year, except in July and December, when most of the state takes off. So if you're in a rural community, the cost is $40. If it's say an urban community, the cost is $99. But we've had people who've stepped up, organizations that have stepped up and want to help provide some scholarships for those. So if that's a need, we have those that are available. So again, 4-week online course to help job seekers find those remote jobs. And the whole point here is to create a demand for remote jobs. When we started this before COVID, there was a lot of skeptical viewpoints, and it wasn't really something that people knew was available, and hence reason why we had such a high negative net migration. And so we're addressing that by helping people stay in their community if they want to, and then get a remote job, which typically do pay more, and there's quite a bit of savings, and I'll go into that in a second. And then we, as Rob mentioned, we have a leadership course. So that's the supply side. One thing we realized is that Utah was not a leader in remote work. In fact, we were quite negative about that until COVID. If there's a silver lining there, that was it, that more employers adopting remote work to be accommodating to employees, and realizing that, hey, productivity maintained or exceeded. Now, it's not without challenges. So that's why we have this course. It's very difficult. In fact, might be the hardest leadership challenge to lead at a distance and motivate people. And so this is even communicating vision and dealing with conflict and so forth. So so this course is for business organizational leaders, and we were set up with Custom Fit. The cost of it's $149, and Custom Fit gives you a 50% discount, but there's 7 modules. We wrap it up in about 20 to 25 hours over the course of 1 month, and so it's it's a hybrid. Both courses are hybrid, so you have online modules, and then those are followed by weekly Zoom meetings just like this. And the whole experience with our professional course as well as our leadership course is to mimic the experience of working remotely. So many leaders, if they're trying to level up and get better at remote work, this course is for them, as well as those who have never done it before and they want to really go through that adoption process. So we help with policies, we help with procedures, we help you evaluating your culture and assessing your proficiency within your organization and where you need to be. So we've helped companies that are very advanced in their remote work adoption, as well as those who've never done it before. And they've all rated our course very highly. So just a quick review. There's just so many benefits to remote work. I like to just say I'm not an advocate. I just kind of stand on the sidelines. We do research. And so far, we found very positive things that we don't want to look away, as well as challenges. And so the challenges are great because that's why we developed our courses, to address those challenges, to help people navigate the future of work, whether as an employee or a leader. But many benefits to the individual as well as the organization, as well as our society at whole. So for individuals, we've seen productivity increase. I mean, there's stress is impacted by commutes, and people experience less stress. They have more favorable work-life balance. But those things, there's still family issues that erode your productivity. So you got to be careful with that, and we teach that in our course. But also cost savings and being able to work remote, and we have this housing issue in our state and across the nation, and being able to live where you can afford to live and own a home is a great thing. And so if you can take your job with you, that's a major benefit, as well as that time not commuting each day. You can use for your family and other meetings. But as far as the organization, organizations are no longer limited to the talent that are just in their local zip codes. So they can hire globally and hire rurally and have greater diversity and attract the best talent in the world. And so one thing that we've seen is less absenteeism, as you can see in the list here. Sometimes when people are sick, they can still work. They just don't want to be in the office to infect other people, so they can still work from home. And so they're using less sick days and so forth. And then really the benefit from remote work is loyalty. Employers really need to start seeing it as a product that they offer, kind of like health benefits to their employees. And again, you have a significant financial savings if you downsize an office, or maybe don't even have an office. So there's quite a bit of savings on rent, utilities, maintenance, cleaning, other provisions like coffee or even a restaurant, as well as equipment and furniture. So again, benefits to organizations as well as society. And having well-paying, diverse jobs in rural Utah is huge. One job in rural Utah in a rural county is not equivalent to a job in Provo because of the population. So when you're in Paiute County and you bring in a $50,000 a year job, that's a big deal. And then of course we're looking at I don't know if anyone else has seen UDOT. I appreciate the advertising, but when it's really, really crowded, has anyone seen that in the chat? Have you seen the signs? But it says consider remote work, like when it's just gridlock traffic. But we appreciate that. But again, less traffic, less air pollution, both things that we struggle with here in the state. And then overall, every business should have a remote work plan, even if they want everyone in the office, because every business needs for inclement weather, for global shocks, spread of disease, everyone should have a remote work plan for continuity of business operations.
Paul, are you still there? Looks like Paul's connectivity might have went off a little bit, talking about digital equity. Paul, are you still able to join us? While Paul is trying to get his internet back on, just really want to engage in this group in conversations about the presentation so far. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat room. I know that Paul, you're back.
Oh, did I cut out?
You got cut out a little bit. We're talking about digital equity and connectivity, so we need to do better in where you are.
Yeah, I'm down in Washington County. Where did I leave off?
I think you were just about to wrap up a little bit with your last slide. I
Okay.
can't remember exactly where you left off.
Yeah, we're probably out of time. Anyway, did I cover the courses?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even notice that I was out. I was like just in my office talking to myself.
Yeah.
So ultimately, remote work is here to stay. Plenty of studies have pointed to many reasons why, especially the advances in technology that accommodate remote work. And so our courses have shown tremendous impact, increasing knowledge, attitude, skills, and aspirations. So knowledge of remote work skills, finding job seeking skills, attitudes towards remote work, as well as remote work skills, and then aspirations to become a remote worker. So as well as our leadership course. So I'll skip over the video, but remoteworkcertificate.com, please get in touch with us. We have scholarship opportunities as well as very affordable courses that are available to everyone in the state. So I'm welcome to have take any questions.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for your presentation. I think this is really important for us to know that there is more than one way to in the workforce. And as we talk about digital equity and access and remote work is a really important piece of that technology is allowing us to work in ways that we haven't had in the past. For the New American Test members who are in this call, we would love for you to be able to think through as you work with your community and how do you benefit from some other resources that is available in the state of Utah, as well as I think important for us to know if there are any barriers that are preventing New American populations in accessing those resources. One thing I think is important for us to remember is that we have New Americans around the state of Utah, and they are growing outside the Wasatch Front, and being able to connect them to resources to allow them to thrive and opportunities to succeed. We have to look beyond what we have in a Rolodex. And Paul, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. If there's no other conversations and discussions, we'll move on to the next item on agenda. Just want to make sure that we have enough time. And next on our on agenda, we have Tuilda from Lawson from the UAMI, the Utah Advanced Material Manufacturing Association. I always forget the two M's. Tuilda, Dr. Lawson. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're so excited for you to share just a snippet about this new pilot that you're launching. I know that we'll dive deeper into it in the next New American Task Force meeting, but we'd love to hear from you and learn about this exciting program.
Well, thank you, Z and Natalie, even though she's not here, for this opportunity to share our program with the task force. The topic is our Return to Work program for internationally skilled professionals in engineering and manufacturing. We have a grant from USHE, the Utah System of Higher Education, Talent Ready Utah, to match up to 30 new Americans into jobs with 12 of our partner companies. UAMI is a public-private partnership. We're a nonprofit. We have the mission to elevate Utah's advanced manufacturing industry. And we have 180 companies, small businesses, that are in our membership. This grant, though, is a pilot. So we're looking to get it going with 30 new Americans, getting them into jobs, as I said, with the 12 companies. And so in addition to this matchmaking of getting the the workers into the companies, we have some wraparound services. We have company culture mentoring that we're working with 2 facilitators for company mentoring. We are doing technical English for these 30 Americans. Even if they have good English, they probably don't have technical English in the field of manufacturing. We're also giving them access to gain new skills or to upskills or to reskill on several programs. And we're going to be having monthly cohort meetings with the new Americans to make sure everything is on course. And this is a 12-month program. So it'll be a year from now, we'll find all the results. On February 29th, we'll give much more information and much more depth on each one of the wraparound services. And also we'll give each of your organizations an opportunity to use our intake form and to spread it to your constituency to see if there are some new Americans that perhaps would like to apply for this program. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lawson. This is we're so excited for this program, and I think that will help us also set an example of piloting this program will help us understanding some of those best practices as well. We're also excited to be partnering with UAMI. With our national partners, with the World Educational Services, we are able to bring in 2 consultants, national consultants, who will be providing technical assistance to provide additional support for this particular pilot. And what we hope to do with that is to actually build together some toolkits for employers in onboarding new American populations into the workforce. One of the things that we're also constantly focusing on with this particular program is working with small and middle-sized employers who might not have the dedicated HR professionals or legal teams in place within the company to provide some of those wraparound services or build a new program from scratch. So we're really excited to be able to leverage and be in partnership to build up some of those infrastructures that could support this program, but also could be duplicated in other manners and other fields as well. I'm going to open it up to the audience to see if there's any questions. I know we are ahead of time, and it will be okay if we end early. But I would love to see if there's any questions, thoughts about today's presentation, or anything else that you would like to bring up as we have this time together. And please feel free to just unmute yourself if you have a question. Well, it looks like we have a pretty quiet group today. Is there any questions on the chat? I do have a question from Susan, who is interested in joining the Udon network.
I responded to Susan, but I put a link in there I think everybody can see. Susan did have a question for Paul, though. About, let's see, are helps for entering the workforce for those to go through the course? And do you have the courses in different languages? Do you want to?
Yeah. So the course is only in English. And the other question was, yes. So as far as the skills, so we teach remote work skills, but we want people to learn and to grow through their participation in the course throughout their careers. And so we know, I mean, we've had people who've gotten 3 remote jobs since starting the course because they got laid off and then they found a better one and so forth. So we teach career skills as well as job search skills that will help you not only prepare for an interview for the job, but also how to move up, how to communicate your productivity. Sometimes you get kind of cast off to you on an island, and where you're remote, you might be the only remote employee on a team or so forth. And so we teach all those skills. So we want to keep people employed, help them get better jobs, help them get their first jobs. So, and again, we do have employers that are partners, and we do help with job placement. However, you know, we want to make sure that everyone has those job search skills so that they can find the jobs on their own.
It looks like we have Maria have your hands up. Maria, you want to unmute and share your question? Maria, are you able to unmute and share your question? Oh, if you want to type your question on the chat.
And Vanessa has a question in the chat.
Oh, there we go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, thank you, Maria. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is also for Paul. He mentioned that when they started their program, like the remote work program, like course, Utah didn't seem like a place that was favoring like work, like remote jobs. Has that been changing? Like, are they noticing any changes? Like, do a lot of like the corporate offices, are they favoring like work from home jobs nowadays, or is this still kind of like the same?
I'm so glad you asked that. I can't take credit. I haven't studied it enough to see if our program has made the difference. I think the global pandemic had a big part to play in that. But yes, it was really hard to find employers that allowed remote work in the state of Utah and where we ranked. But the flexjobs.com did an analysis, and I wasn't really quite sure about their data set, so I think they were kind of like out on a limb there. But they put us like right at 25 in like list of states with remote jobs. So you had a lot on the West Coast and the East Coast, but very few like in between. And then recently, the Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute looked at remote work in Utah, and we are one of the top states for remote work, allowing people to work remote. And we have a huge need we have a declining. Well, I guess I want to say we want to increase our workforce participation, and so in order to do that, we reached out to young. This is the state of Utah, right? Our economic policy. We have a high number of young people in the workforce, and then we're reaching out to people who are retired and saying, come back, we'll pay you more, as well as women who have traditionally, you know, not been in the workforce. And we've seen this migration from out of state. So we have a higher population of people moving in from out of state than that's exceeded natural birth rates. So those are really interesting demographics, and all of those have played a role in Utah, not only increasing wages, which has been great to see, but also being more flexible in the workplace, because we need, we're not going to fill positions if we're not allowing people the flexibility that they need. So as employees, you need to voice your concerns and let your employer know what your needs are. And then so far the data is showing that the employers in Utah are responding very positively to remote work, so that they can increase diversity, increase their talent, and fill the positions that they need.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We do have another question on the chat from Vanessa, and she's asking Dr. Lawson, if you're still here, when is UAMI planning to start the Return to Work program? I believe next month, right? Are we started it already?
Oh, we've just finalized our contracting, and now we're getting the wraparound services under contract, and the February 29th event that it's hosted by the New American Task Force will be the kickoff.
Okay, so please share the word with your members. We'll kick it off at the New American Task Force meeting on the 29th until 28th, 29th of next month. We're, like I said, super excited about this particular pilot project, and I think that it will really set some great benchmarks for the state.
It's on Leap Day, right? This is a leap year, and it's the extra day we have in February. So it makes it easy for everyone to remember. And at that time, we probably before that, we'll send out an email to everybody with the intake form, which is for your constituency to complete so that they can be enrolled to be presented to the companies.
Okay, any other questions or thoughts? Good. Well, I want to, if there is no more questions, we'll end today's meeting a little bit early. I want to thank all our presenters who presented today and provided the tremendous information. Just a recap, thanking Terry Mums from the Digital Access Program at the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity for giving us a great overview of the digital equity plan as well as the B plan. With Rob from the Center for Economic Opportunity and Belonging with the Utah Digital Opportunity Network. Encourage all of you to attend that. Dr. Paul Hill, thank you for sharing with us your tremendous resource and the benefits of remote work and what you could do to support people in that effort. And Dr. Terilda Lawson for the exciting program coming up. With that, I want to thank everyone for your participation today. Look forward to seeing you at the next New American Task Force meeting next month on Leap Day, February 29th.